Hey, it's Jarren. I am reviewing the AirPods Pro 2 from a user experience standpoint. For the most part, tech reviews are already flooded on the internet. I don't really need to add anything to that noise from, hey, this is a new product. But what I do want to cover is a couple of small things that I think really impact quality of life, and I think make a big difference for users. For the past couple of weeks, I've been using the AirPods Pro 2, and I've been comparing them pretty closely to the AirPods Pro 1. Now, for me personally, AirPods have been a huge level up compared to wired headphones. And I've had wired headphones before. I've had Bluetooth wired headphones, the one with the wire around your neck. And when the AirPods Pro came out with the silicone tips, I knew right away that I would be really interested in them. Now, audio quality and things like that are obviously important to me, but to be honest, I am definitely not the expert in that field. The things that I figure that are relevant for this type of video are active noise canceling and pairability, pairing speed. Those are the types of things that I really want to touch on here. But I actually had the perfect situation to test these out, which was on a very long plane flight. And what I found was actually really impressive. The difference in noise cancellation between the version 1 and version 2 was night and day. And I had never really long-term used active noise canceling beforehand. I have tested the AirPods Pro Max as well, and to be honest, I find the AirPods Pro 2 to be like the happy sweet spot with noise cancellation. I think, at least personally, when the headphones get too big, I can kind of feel the warbling that you kind of get, that warbling effect from the active noise cancellation. And in this situation, I don't really get that as much because they're so much smaller. So using these on an airplane, I was able to block out, I would say 95% of all of the airplane noise. The only thing that really slips through with these headphones is the higher frequency range. If I'm hearing something like a fan, I don't hear any of the buzz, I just hear a little bit of a whir, a whoosh, that sound. And that's pretty much it, which is nice. And also it does help if I'm trying to hear someone, if someone's talking to me, I don't hear a bunch of distracting noises. I do hear a little bit in the upper frequency, and I can actually tune people out pretty easily with these. In the past, I found with the AirPods Pro 1, I would turn the volume up to maybe 75% when I was in like a busy room, and I find that I could pretty comfortably sit around 25 to 50% with the AirPods Pro 2. Now for me, I really care about my hearing, so I don't want to damage it by playing music that's too loud. This is perfect for me. I can turn the volume down, I can protect my ears, but I can still focus on having that isolated soundscape that makes me focus more on the music and less on the world around me. Now again, these things are not vastly different compared to the previous generation. I don't care about the lanyard loop. I don't really care about the speaker on the bottom. I don't really lose things that frequently. But the pairing speed has really been a quality of life difference. I think if you're a regular AirPods user, you tend to learn a couple of things like the quirks about the product. Kind of like with headphones, like if your headphone wire started breaking, you'd have to kind of tilt it at the right angle. In the same way, pairing between devices can be a little bit of a headache. I find sometimes one of the headphones will pair and not the other one. And actually, I've noticed some differences between the version 1 and version 2 in that regard. The version 1 has issues pairing. It's a little slower. It doesn't pair as quickly to a device. It doesn't activate as quickly. Whereas the version 2 will pair much more quickly. Although sometimes, if I don't pull the second headphone out of the case fast enough, it will pair one, and then I feel like it has to go through another couple of seconds to pair the second one. So it's almost like they're really trying to activate the first headphone, just in case I'm only using one, and that maybe comes at a sort of cost cut, and I'm not able to use the second one as quickly. I also do have the new AirPods Pro firmware update, 5B58, and I still notice some of those syncing issues. One of the things I especially notice is a desync between the two AirPods every now and then. This mostly happens when I'm on my Mac. If I take one of them out of my ear or put it back in, every now and then it gets slightly off, and I do find it gets fixed if I switch audio inputs for a minute and then switch back. It sort of resets that connection. But that is definitely more prominent than I've noticed in the previous versions. In addition, the other nice thing is that the battery percentage shows up all the time on my phone, which is great because now I know exactly what the battery is without having to just guess. Most of the times I would either overcharge or undercharge the Gen 1, whereas Gen 2 I can just check and it's really, really easy to see the percentage. I also find that it updates a little bit more frequently. It just seems like the generic information about the device transfer back and forth is really convenient compared to the previous one. The last one I felt like I had to put in some effort to figure out details about the headphones, whereas this time they're just there. So I do think this is a pretty simple video. For the most part, this is a small quality of life improvement. It's been absolutely worth it for me. I listen to music all the time. I'm always trying to focus in, and I get really distracted by external sounds, so this is really great for me. I also grew up in the countryside, and I was able to listen to birds chirp all the time. Now I live in the city, and I really, really value my quiet time. The one thing that still drives me crazy about both of these is the voice quality. Again, I'm complaining about something that is still on a device that is incredibly impressive. Like, I remember daydreaming about having Bluetooth headphones like this before they existed. I remember this as a sort of dream of mine, to be able to just grab sound in my hand like this. So it's so tough for me to be nitpicking in a space that I'm so happy about already. But I do spend a lot of time on video calls, and one of the things that's really unfortunate is if I'm in a video call and I have to use the microphone, the audio quality has to cut down to a lower quality sound. And that's in order to send live audio to the computer and also receive live audio back. And because of that, I can't listen to music in the background or do anything else really, because the audio that I'd be hearing from my computer or device is going to be really low quality. It might not matter if I was listening to lo-fi because it's already a little muffled, but you lose a lot of the detail. I actually think it's sent in mono as well, so I don't even know if you get a stereo signal. It's just extremely reduced. That's my one main gripe with this. It is still small enough that I will continue to use them happily, but I cannot wait for a version 3 or 4. I think it might require a new Bluetooth protocol, but I'm really excited to see where that leads us to the future. I would really love to be able to be in a call and still listen to high quality audio at the same time. One of the other things I did notice is that my ear tip size, for some reason, felt better using the large tips on the version 1 and the medium tips on version 2. And I think it was because I was probably trying to improve the noise isolation, and I found the large tips did better on that. But when I moved to the version 2, I think the active noise canceling was actually a little bit better, and I didn't feel like I had to force it as much with the silicone tip. So the medium tips worked pretty well for me. Also, the better battery life is awesome. I regularly have my headphones in for a couple of hours while working. I work with mostly remote teams, so 6 hours is actually not that unusual, and I so far haven't actually had to have them die on me. I haven't had to put them away, and that's new because the version 1 I did pretty regularly. I'm at the point now where I feel like I can just use these when I want to. I don't have to think as much about the software side of things or the glitchiness or the charging. This is definitely a significant step further in more seamless product design. I would much rather focus on what I am doing, listening to something, rather than what tool am I using and how am I using it. The more seamless those things become, the more these things can fade into the background, and I can just enjoy music. With all of that said, I probably won't be doing normal tech reviews on this channel. You could probably expect me to review things from a user experience standpoint. Again, I think it's really important that people are able to easily use tech that they have, they're able to understand it, and I think comprehensive analysis of that side of things can be much more beneficial and is a little bit more within my wheelhouse. So I'm going to get back to listening to some music, and I will see you again next time.